Dominic.
Noah.
One of those O's has got to go. Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday.
What a wicked transition. I'm not ready.
Well, hey, we're back in person. Wait,
We're back, yeah.
Welcome back, Dom.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back in the studio, and it couldn't have came at a better time. Here.
Yeah, because we get to preview UFC 253, Adesanya versus Costa, Reyes versus Blachowicz.
My head's spinning.
A 2-title fight card.
There's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on.
I got a lot to process.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So,
I'm just thinking.
Look, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still happy with the episodes we had.
Right.
We were apart. I think we did the best with what we can do.
Right.
It's inevitable that we can't be in the same place at the same time all the time. With that being said, much happier to be doing this in person. Get the feet off of each other a little bit,
It feels good. That was the hardest part. There's something about, you're with the person you're recording, you flow off their energy, you get to react.
Yeah.
Because we've had our fair share of funny shit happen where you're looking at me. They can't see us,
right.
obviously, but it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So it feels good to be back. And, I mean, it's UFC 253, the freaking preview.
Yeah.
We're going back to Fight Island. Gah! Oh.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just say what the main card is right now.
Yes.
Then we're going to break it down later, obviously. You guys know how it works.
They
by
know.
now.
They better know. If they don't, well, this is only our second pay-per-view breakdown. Go.
So, we open our main card with featherweight action.
Oh.
A guy you're a big fan of. Hakeem Dawodu.
Hakeem the Dream. I don't think that's his actual name.
Going up against Zubaira.
Come on.
Takugov. Don't think that's right.
I'm going to have to knock you down to a 9.5.
I know
you were
might.
a 10 for a solid over a month.
I think it's probably Tahugov.
Okay, I'll bump you up to a 9.8.
Okay.
You're going to have to earn that 10 back.
Okay. So, we're following that fight with some women's bantamweight action. The one women's fight on this main card as Ketlin Vieira goes up against Sajara Eubanks. Wait a minute. We just talked about her 2 weeks ago.
She's back in the saddle.
She's back.
All the way across the world.
The show goes on. Lupe Fiasco.
I love it.
Following that, a very exciting fight at flyweight. Big implications in this one.
Yeah.
As Kai Kara France goes up against Brandon Royval. That man is no longer working a side job. 50 G's, baby.
2 top 10 boys going at it.
Then our co-main event. We're crowning our first light heavyweight champion in almost a decade.
This is one of my favorite stats.
Not named John Jones or Daniel Cormier.
Almost a decade.
Tell me that's not insane.
It
It's
is
a
insanity.
huge moment for
That's
this
one
division.
of my favorite stats in the UFC right now.
And we get Dominic Reyes going up against Polish power himself, Jan Blachowicz.
That's a fun one.
Excuse me. And to cap the whole night off, one of those O's has got to go. Undefeated champion, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya.
19 wins, 0 losses.
Defends his middleweight title against his toughest opponent yet.
Yes.
A monster of a man named Paulo Borrachina Costa.
13 wins, 0 losses.
One of those O's has got to go.
Combined record, 32 wins, 0 losses.
And we'll talk more about that later. But first, it's time for the news.
The news. Everybody's favorite segment. We got a good one.
We do. We have actually quite a bit happen today.
Yeah.
Which is always great to see, I love when I'm at work and I just be getting Twitter notifications from Dom and it just says hashtag the news on it. We're going to start here with, we're going to start a little small and we'll work our way up to the big finale.
There are big ones, yeah.
So we'll start with October 25th has added a new fight.
Yeah.
Stefan Struve, the skyscraper.
He big.
He's back.
He's 6'11".
He's sick. Yeah. Did you guys hear that? That man is 6'11".
This is the UFC, sir, not the NBA. Okay?
He's gonna go with the octagon and start dunking on
We got
fools.
Nikolai Jokic in the damn octagon.
It's like when Connor was talking shit to Draymond Green. He's like, I dribble heads off the canvas,
Right.
not balls. And that's like Stephen Struve's like, I'll fucking dunk your damn head.
This
through
man
the
don't even
octagon.
have to jump to dunk a ball.
He's going up against Mr. Shuey himself,
Ooh.
Tai Tuivasa.
What a fun one.
Bam Bam, as they call him.
That's got to be a one. Ty's short for a
He is?
heavyweight.
Yeah, that's gonna
Stephen
be
tall.
it's gonna be a very interesting.
Short tall.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting because really, in a way, both these fighters are like back. Like I know every time someone
Yeah.
steps back in, they're back. But Stephen Struve technically has retired like twice now,
Yeah.
and he's back.
Him and Connor have a lot in common.
Yes, they do. And then on Tuivasa's end, he had announced on his social media back in the summer that he was cut after 3 straight losses. And then I believe his manager came out and said that he wasn't, or it was his coach, one of the two, came out and said, oh, that's not true, or like they worked it out, whatever.
Right.
He's
Potential
back.
discontract
But then there was nothing
issues.
said by the UFC or Tuivasa to confirm that. Well, it's confirmed.
I'm glad he didn't get
Yeah, I am too. I'm a big fan. Sucks. He has lost 3 in a row, so this is definitely do or die for him right here.
Now, are 2 of those like close decisions? Or,
Well, I'll
or
tell
at
you.
least one of them, I think.
I will tell you, because I have it pulled up here.
And I like Ty because he's from that Australian, New
Yeah.
Zealand market, and they're trying to grow that market. It's getting big right now. We got Dan Hooker, Robert Whitaker, we got Volkanovski,
Yeah.
and now to have a heavyweight, he had a lot of hype when he first came in.
Yeah.
And, like you said, 3 straight. So I'll let you.
His UFC record's 3-3.
Yeah.
So he comes in, beats a guy named Rashad Coulter with a flying knee knockout
That's a heavyweight, by the way.
in 4.5 minutes into the first round. Then an awesome fight to watch that's completely one-sided is his TKO. I'm going to put parentheses on TKO win over Cyril Asker at UFC 221 in 2018. He won that fight in just over 2 minutes. But it is just Asker gets his ass kicked. And it is just watching the way, I don't know, just something about the power
Right.
that Tuivasa possesses. It was so fun to watch because Asker was taking that shit and it hurt him.
Yeah.
But he was still standing for longer than he should have. So that's 2-0, right? Well, then he gets a big unanimous decision win over Andrei Arlovsky,
Yeah.
the former heavyweight
I
champion.
knew he had a big name.
A guy I'm a big fan of,
Yeah.
That was a fight. I remember watching that at your house. That was the card, UFC 225, headlined by Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero 2. So great main event
Yeah.
there. This fight, I remember not being super exciting. And I remember thinking Arlovsky had done enough to win.
Yeah.
However,
It was close. And it was unanimous.
it was unanimous. So, obviously, but I don't think it was like a robbery again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start throwing that around. But overall, he's 3-0 after that. But to a guy like Arlovsky, who tends to get matched up with these big prospects and just
Yeah.
gets his lights knocked out,
Yeah.
for you to have like such a close win over him, it doesn't really speak to your your ability to
Right.
be ready for the top dogs.
He had those 2 great finishes, and then
Yeah.
you know.
So then, still a win over Arlovsky. He gets a big jump up in competition. It was a card in Australia that he was headlining.
It was a fight night.
Yeah, with Junior Dos Santos.
Yeah, dude, what a jump
Yeah,
they gave him.
yeah, that was big. He was headlining that card, and then a guy named Tyson Pedro, who's now in Bellator, also from Australia, I believe, was the co-main, I believe it was Shogun Hua.
Might have been.
So those 2 fights do not go either of those guys' ways. They're like the 2 big prospects, both from Australia. Doesn't go either of their way. Junior Dos Santos takes it to Tuivasa. Really shows that there's levels to this,
Yeah.
So he has that loss, but he's still 9-1, 3-1 in the UFC. That's no slouch he's losing to right there.
Right.
So then he fights Blagoy Ivanov. Unanimous decision loss. That happened at UFC 238. Henry Cejudo versus Marlon Moraes.
Okay.
Then he that was actually last October on the Whitaker Adesanya card. He lost to Sergey Spivak. Yeah, by technical submission, arm triangle choke in the second round.
Well,
So, tough 3 losses right there, but I'm glad he's getting another chance here. And he's going up against, look, this is not going to be,
that's still a tough test.
This ain't going to be easy.
I'm glad they're putting him back in with like a respected vet, though.
The
So
thing
that way he can kinda work.
with on the other end here with Stefan Struve, sure, he's, at one time he was a top 10 heavyweight, but
Potential contender,
I wouldn't go that
like
high.
on the cusp.
He had some hype,
Yeah.
obviously, because of his size.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, he was doing some sick things. He was winning some big fights.
Yeah.
But overall, he's always been kind of like a freak. It's like a freak show fight in a way.
Yeah.
Like the thing Pride used to do with, like, Bob Sapp.
Right.
So, for him, his name kind of carries him more than his actual ability at this point. But, he hasn't just lost, like, every fight he's been in the last couple of years. I mean, he does have a win back in February of 2019 against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. That was on the Blachowicz-Thiago Santos card. Interesting fact there.
That will be
But
mentioned later.
his last fight came in December of 2019 against Ben Rothwell, another veteran who I believe was coming back in that fight.
Yeah, I think that was.
And Rothwell got a TKO win over him. Before that Marcos fight that Struve won, he was on 3 straight losses. He got TKO'd by Alexander Volkov, had a decision loss to Arlovsky, which I was telling you before we recorded. I remember watching that at UFC 222. That was headlined by, I want to say that was Frankie Edgar, I guess it was headlined by Cyborg Kunitskaya, but the co-main was what I remember, Frankie Edgar and Brian Ortega.
We know what happened there.
So in this fight, Arlovsky has never been a guy that's going to take you down. And I believe he had less than 5 takedowns in his whole career. And whatever that number was, he had more takedowns in this single fight than in his whole career. So not a great look for
crazy.
Struve right there. And then he ends up getting another decision loss to Marcin Tybura. Not, definitely tough competition right there. But at some point he retires, comes back, and then he kind of retires again after the Rothwell loss. Now he's back again. I'm somewhat excited for this fight because it's kind of on paper. Struve is always going to be a nightmare matchup for anybody because of his size alone.
Exactly.
The problem with Struve is he never tends to use his size to his advantage.
Yeah.
Like
he
a guy like
utilize that reach.
A guy like John Jones, who is 6 inches shorter than him or so, feels a lot taller in the octagon than Struve does.
He knows how to work his reach, man.
Struve's that's always been a problem for him. He's never been able to do that.
Yeah.
He always lets people get close. And Tuivasa, who's going to be a shorter...
he's going to close the distance.
Yeah, and he's going to be looking for that power shot,
Clinch work, big
I'm excited for it because I think it's not going to be a fight that goes 3 rounds. That's just something I'm saying off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But,
and that surely would be a main card fight. On a fight night card, I'd imagine.
Well, on a fight night card, probably. I mean, it's going to be a big fight for Tuivasa because if he loses, he's probably done in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be 4 straight. He'd be 3-4 in the promotion. So he's got to become. I mean, he just got cut, or was at least in the talks of getting cut or something.
Right. So,
yeah, I'm excited for it. Figured it'd be nice to talk about. I like Tai Tuivasa.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was like, wait a second. This is happening on October 25th, which is a Sunday. It's on UFC 254.
Oh, it is.
But their graphic, it was tweeted out by UFC Australia. So to them, it is on Sunday. But this is on the UFC 254 card. For any clarification. Because you were sitting there and like, wait, October 25th? That's a Sunday. But yeah, it's on the 254 card.
Gotcha. So it might be a main card fight, but it could definitely be a prelim fight.
Yeah, it might be, depending on how they fill out that main card.
Yep. So I guess moving on from there, I think the next one we can talk about here is probably Volkan Oezdemir.
Yeah.
And Nikita Krylov.
This goes big with our special episode.
Our episode on Wednesday. I believe this is the fight I picked. I don't know that for sure. I wish I would have looked back before.
Someone's gonna have to go fact check it.
Yeah, but
let us know on a voice message.
Oezdemir's ranked 7th. Krylov's ranked 9th.
Yeah.
This fight's happening very soon.
Yeah.
Literally October 17th.
It's going to be the co-main to Korean Zombie and Ortega.
I literally told, if I'm remembering this right, I believe I said this fight would be a co-main on a fight night as well. So call me Mystic Mac, because I predict these things.
Yeah, this fight makes all the sense in the world.
It
7
really
versus
does.
9.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great fight.
Uzdemir coming off the loss to Jiri.
Yep.
Do you remember what Krylov's last fight was?
So Krylov just beat Johnny.
That's right.
By
Yeah,
decision,
that was a decision
but before
win.
that, lost to Glover, and before Glover beat OSP.
Yeah, see, that fight with Johnny Walker was not very exciting, which is why I think not a lot of people are talking about it.
Right.
Because it should have been a big win for him. But I remember the stat from that video on Wednesday. That's his only win he's had in his career, not by stoppage.
That's insane. That's insane.
And now he's going up against Vulcan, who we know the power that guy has.
Oh, he's just coming to take your head
Yeah.
off. He does fight a lot smarter now than when originally he came into the UFC.
Yeah.
But he still is coming to knock
I mean, when
your
you were
head
knocking out guys the way
Yeah.
Vulcan was when he came, especially like Jimmy Manuwa,
off. Right.
I don't blame him for being like, my hands, there's God in these hands. But yeah, October 17th, I'm pretty excited for that one.
Oh, yeah.
That card's shaping up to be real nice, too.
I don't even care what the other card fights are on the main card.
Because it's headlined by, did you just say it?
Buddy. Ortega, Korean Zombie. I've been waiting on that for
That's literally the
over
fight
a
I've
year.
been most excited for in that featherweight division for
That's
a year.
one of the most exciting fights of the year. And this is a crazy year of fights.
It really is.
It's just because it's been so overdue. It was supposed to happen a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, that'll be previewed. In the
Yeah, so we'll be obviously
But a
talking
big
about that.
co-main got announced.
A big one.
Yeah.
After that, December 5th. So we got a ways away on this one.
Right.
But we got a big bantamweight fight announced.
I like this.
Cody Stamann going up against Merab Davalishvili, who maybe for some of you that have been listening for a while might recognize that name.
Yep.
Because he was actually in our preview and recap episode. He was fighting on UFC 252.
Yep.
So he had a big win there against John Dodson, who just got cut.
Right.
Still a big win.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's getting a big jump up here against Cody Stamann. Can you give the rankings for the people, Dom?
Cody's 12th. Merab's 13th.
Really, Cody's 12th. I thought he might have been a little higher than that, but
I think he was, but they've done some.
you know what?
adjustments.
That speaks to the level of how stacked that division
Oh
is.
man, that division is nice.
This fight on paper is very interesting. 'Cause
It is.
Merab Smash.
Yeah.
Merab has that Habib and Hazmat style of like grapple fuck the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And he does it very well. As a parent, John Dodson put up a good fight, but Merab was just too much.
And that camp, man, that
Yeah.
Merab has, he's got Aljo and freaking Sarah
Chris
and
Weidman.
Longo and Weidman, dude. That
Yeah.
camp is nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Sarah BJJ
Yeah.
out in New York. For Cody, he's coming off a loss to another wrestler.
Yep.
And Jimmy Rivera, shout
Our
out.
good friend.
We're
How you
friends-
doing, Jimmy?
We're friends with his family.
Yep. We go back.
So I remember that fight being pretty good. Fight it happened over the summer. Cody had his moments. He had a big win just a couple weeks before that. I don't remember who it was.
It was
against.
against my man, Brian Kelleher.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was a great 3-round fight. Right, it was a week after Cody's brother died.
Yeah, so
and
because I
went
remember
and
he was
fought
very
anyway.
teared up in
Yeah,
the
that was
post-fight.
very, very amazing performance in
Yeah.
post-fight.
So on paper, this fight could definitely be interesting.
In
I
a
think-
fight that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a grinded out kind of matchup.
Mhm.
Cody's shown that he will go to that style like he did with Jimmy. He's not going to back down from Merab. Merab's probably a little bit smaller than Jimmy Rivera, I would say. I don't know that for sure. But overall, like, that's an exciting fight, man.
Oh, yeah.
December, a ways away, but obviously, hopefully, that fight stays together, and we'll be able to talk about it more as it gets closer.
That's a good one.
After that, we're going to jump to, I believe we'll jump to, I mean, I guess we could just kind of get this one out of the way because it's the third time we're going to say it. Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira has been rebooked, this time as a main event of a fight night on November 7th. So this is the third time we are attempting to rebook this.
Now you know the old saying, third time's the charm.
Third
right?
time's a charm.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I mean, this is November. There's a lot that can happen.
This fight has to happen. This is a very important fight,
It is.
especially after this weekend.
Tiago's number 2.
It's number 1 contender.
It is. Tiago's number 2. Glover's number 4. You got number 1 and number 3 fighting for the belt this weekend. So.
Yes. The winner of Glover Tiago is the number 1 contender. Simply put, it can't be put any other way.
And I couldn't be happier that this fight's getting rebooked. As the big Tiago stan that I am.
Yeah.
I'm very excited again, and also happy for Glover to get that matchup because he seems very adamant about it.
Right.
Despite my my holdbacks on Glover's chances in that fight, but again, great headliner for that card. We'll obviously announce more fights that get announced as they come, but just
and that'll be back in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean we've broke this fight down exhaustingly at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna have nothing left to say.
Yeah, so really there is nothing left to say on it. We've talked about it twice before. After that, I guess here's where we'll talk about Anthony Smith.
Look at all this light heavyweight stuff.
Yeah, so this is another fight. Actually, we both picked this one.
This is the one we both predicted, not only in the recap video, but in our special episode.
So, Anthony Smith, I want you to give the quote here, but he basically kind of called out Johnny Walker a little bit.
Anthony Smith said, "I'll beat the shit out of you." That's what he said.
End quote.
Apparently, Johnny's called him out multiple times now at this point, which I did not know he had done that in the past. But now is as good a time as ever. This fight couldn't make more sense. Anthony's 8th, coming off a loss. 2 losses. Johnny's ranked 11th, or 10th now, because they changed the rankings, so he's 10th. Coming off his win, but before that, the back-to-back losses.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I love the shit out of this fight.
Yeah, that's a great fight.
Just because they're both guys that are struggling right now, but at one time, like just a year ago, they were at like a super high point in their career.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like who's going to continue that fall and who's going to bounce back in a big way. Because really, the winner of this matchup, man, I mean, you're talking...
You're right back in there. I mean, again, Anthony's 8th.
Yeah.
So we're talking 1 or 2 more fights, and here's the title.
Especially in this division right now when it's all up for grabs.
Exactly.
It's not like he has to worry about getting to the top, and it's like, oh, he already fought John Jones and got dominated. No, John Jones is gone.
Right. The boogeyman is no longer in the light heavyweight division.
Yep. But I just love that matchup. I don't know if it would end up being a great fight, but I would put money that it would be.
Oh, I'd imagine. On paper, right? I mean, geesh.
So, which one do you want to talk about next? You want to talk about 255 or you want to talk about the main event?
Which one comes first?
I would assume the main event one.
Let's do the main event one last.
Okay. So UFC 255. This is the card in November that, as of now, is our flyweight title,
extravaganza.
Flyweight title night. Cody Garbrandt going down in weight to fight Davison Figueiredo for the men's flyweight belt. Then you got Jennifer Maia challenging the dominant women's flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko. Robbie Lawler.
Oh.
You know my boy.
Yeah, he just fought.
He just fought, not in a very good way, but he's got his next matchup announced, and it's I can't say it doesn't excite me.
It excites me and it makes sense.
He's going up against Mike Perry.
Wow. Wow.
That fight is insane.
It really is.
Now,
it's going to be a bloodbath.
Mike Perry, man, what is there to say about Mike Perry? You know, that's
all you can say.
You know, you don't know if he's all there. You don't know.
What a character.
That guy he just has something about him that just you can't take your eyes off of him.
Right.
No matter if he's saying some cringy ass shit or he's doing something that's terrible.
Right.
Or if he's just beating ass and it doesn't matter. You're just you can't take your eyes off him. He kind of has it, you know.
And he's coming off the biggest win of his UFC career, in my opinion.
He beat Mickey Gall.
Dominated him, I think.
Was it a domination?
I would say so.
I remember that card was happening. I was working, and I was watching it at work on my phone.
It was I was shocked.
I was driving home. It was like a 20-25 minute drive to my mom's house, and that fight was on.
Yeah.
So I missed almost all of it. So I wasn't sure if it was a domination or not. The interesting lead up to that fight being that Mike Perry only allowed his girlfriend to corner him.
Yeah, one person in his corner.
It was his girlfriend, who, just to be clear, has
Very minimal.
Zero background in MMA.
Yeah, I think she's done like small things in boxing, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
just
that
to
was
get,
in his corner.
and I'm not like.
Oh, we're not hating on it.
I mean, that was the point. That was
the
the point. The point was, I can beat you with basically nobody in my corner.
And he did it.
Yeah.
Convincingly. Against a tough
very
dude,
impressive win.
Who stylistically, that's a tough matchup for Mike Perry. Mickey Gall.
Is. Yeah, it is. So, I remember really thinking Mickey Gall's gonna win that. Just
have a resurgence, you know?
with the corner and all that. I was like, this is not gonna go well. Like this, you're not setting yourself up for a good night here. But he proved that he was for real.
Yeah.
And he gets a big fight. This is I don't want to say it's the biggest fight of Mike Perry's career. He's fought Paul Felder, but name-wise, probably the biggest fight of his career.
Yeah.
He's going up against a former champion here who's definitely on his way out.
To me, win or lose, Robbie should call it after this one. That's me.
Boy, this matchup. Look, Robbie has been struggling his last couple fights. He just can't seem to. He's kind of having the Tyron Woodley thing where he can't seem to just let the hands go. Well, I'll tell you who's gonna let the hands go. That's Platinum Mike Perry.
Yes.
That man's gonna come looking to take Robbie's head off.
This should be a slugfest.
It should be. And honestly, man, like the fanboy in me wants to like sit here and talk about how Robbie could really win this matchup,
right.
But that's for another episode. I just think that's a big fight to be putting on that card. That'll probably, honestly, that could be the third fight of the.
I would imagine it's definitely a main card.
Just
I'd
if you're talking
card.
name value, those are two guys that are gonna attract some eyes to that card, But yeah, more to come on that show, and hopefully that fight sticks together.
I mean, that's a damn good pay-per-view.
Yeah,
these
really
pay-per-views,
man, they're looking good.
Next three, whoo.
Yeah, so then our last bit of news here, another guy we just talked about last week, the biggest prospect in the UFC right now, Khamzat Chimaev. Well, he tweeted that it looks like he's going to be fighting a 5-round fight. Now, Dom, to the viewers who maybe don't know or forgot or whatever, tell me what instances would a 5-round fight occur?
Well, there's only two, Noah.
Okay.
Title fight or main event.
Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh.
I don't think he's getting a title fight.
Right.
He's not even. I mean, I'm sure he's ranked now, but he wasn't ranked before his last fight.
Right.
But it looks like he's going to be getting a main event.
Right. It's his fourth UFC fight.
And either welterweight or middleweight, whichever one.
He tweeted today, 170, 185, 205. I'm ready. I said, we're adding a third one?
205.
We're adding a third weight class?
So this is big. UFC's really buying into Khamzat right now. Dana loves the shit out of this guy.
Yeah. How can you not right now?
If you're talking about a main event, though, this likely means he ain't fighting until November.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to take a guess and say this will be the headliner of November 14th.
Originally, Dana had said we're booking him a fight for Fight Island. Mm-hmm. Apparently that's not going to happen because all the main events were booked.
Well, truthfully, the way they've been booking this guy, he might be fighting a 3-rounder on Fight Island, and then he's going to turn around in a couple weeks and fight a main event.
And it I don't want to say it looks like, but the name at the top of the list, if he's going to fight at welterweight, again, he just fought at middleweight, which is 185.
He seems to be going back
so
and forth.
His next fight should be at 170.
Right.
Damian Maia. And we've already mentioned this.
That's the name that was being thrown around, and everybody was given a lot of shit to the UFC for trying to book that matchup.
Chimaev is 1-0 at welterweight. Damian Maia is ranked 6th in the world.
Yes.
Think about it. But
so what I'm saying is they had that matchup booked. Well, at least it was being
worked on.
Yeah.
In talks.
Meanwhile, he had a fight scheduled with Gerald Mearchart, who everybody was saying like it's his toughest matchup yet. 17-second knockout.
One
says
punch.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
Now everybody's saying maybe you don't book him against Damian Maia.
I don't want it.
Because Damian Maia, you know, for the legend he is, that man is he's up there.
I don't want it.
He's coming off a tough knockout loss to Gilbert Burns.
I don't want it. Don't do it.
Look, here's what I'm going to say. Damian Maia is ranked 6th right now.
Yes.
So, either step up or step out, buddy. Because this is all I'm saying. You're ranked 6th. I'm not saying that he's like ducking Hosman or anything. I'm just saying to the people that are like, you know, I get it. If you're like a big Damian Maia fan, I get like you're worried that you're like you just don't want to see him get smashed, you know.
Chimaev said every top 10 opponent in both weight classes have turned him down for the next fight.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm sure a few have.
And then he tweeted and said, "Damian, I respect you. I want to test myself against you."
I do want to say that there's the fight that I really want to see. It ain't gonna happen. But the fight that I really want to see, instead of Damian Maia, Leon Edwards.
I wish they could have just seen my face. We really need a video podcast because damn, you just threw me for a loopity-loop.
I want to hear your thoughts on that.
No.
Yeah, I know you're not.
No.
I know you're not supportive of that.
Well, if I'm Leon, I'm saying hell no. I ain't taking that. I ain't taking that.
You know Chimaev gonna smash.
Well, I'm not. Well, I'm not saying Leon can't win the fight, but if you're Leon, you got to think this is a really big risk when I'm right on the cusp of a title shot. I can't risk this.
But is he on the cusp of a title shot? I know ranking wise he is. Hear me out. My man's ranked 3rd, but guess what? Right now, I bet there's a lot more people, or at least the way the tide is going, Hosman's probably going to get a title shot before Leon Edwards. Ooh, did that sting you a bit?
I just made the face twice in 30 seconds.
Now, think about it. Rankings really don't mean that much.
I know, unfortunately.
I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like to have them. They're nice to see because, especially for those divisions that aren't as stacked, or you know, like the women's divisions where a lot of times right now in like flyweight, you know, they're fighting once or twice in the UFC and then they're in the rankings. It's good to know, okay, these are the legit top 15, right? Well, Leon Edwards ranked 3rd. Hey, that dude's one of the best in the world. But nobody wants to fight him, apparently.
I don't like that. I'm not saying I don't like the fight. It's a great fight.
Yeah.
I don't like giving Chimaev jumping an entire weight class. I don't like that.
I mean, if he loses, then it's like egg on your face kind of thing. But
I don't think they'll go that high.
I mean, I don't think either. I'm just saying that's what I want. That is a great fight. What I think's going to happen is, I don't even know if it'll be Damian Maia, to be honest. But before I just want to finish my thought here about Leon Edwards. Think of how big that would be for Edwards if he were to win that fight. Oh, I get it. Chimaev is unranked.
Yeah.
But guess what? He's like, if he beat Chimaev easily,
he would be shoving it in the UFC's face like, hey.
He just derailed one of the biggest hype trains.
It would be 9 in a row, and he'd be like, hey, I've been here. I've been waiting on this title
Guess what?
fight.
Here's a.
You say you wanted me to beat a big name?
Here's a hot take. If Edwards were to fight and beat Chimaev, and I'm talking within the next couple months, he would be better set up for a title shot than against any other opponent in that division, except for maybe Colby Covington.
Right.
Or Masvidal.
Yeah. God, that's the fight I want. But.
That's it. Those two guys maybe better set you up for a title shot. Besides that, it's Hosman. Yeah. He's not even ranked technically.
Yeah,
Actually, he probably is now.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson called out.
Yeah.
His first ever call out.
The NMF.
The NMF.
The nicest motherfucker.
Yes. Called out on Twitter.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. We probably should have.
It flowed well here.
I do like that fight. I'm just saying that it's not going to probably get him a title shot if he wins.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends.
He's in a tough
lot
spot.
of it depends.
He's in a tough spot.
He hasn't fought in a while. Anyways, back to Hosman because he's kind of who we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Damian Maia is the one that's obvious. You were mentioning a couple interesting ones that you heard from Ariel.
I like 2 fights.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about those.
Assuming that this fight is at welterweight, I have 2 options. And then I'll give one option on middleweight, which you've already discussed. If it's at welterweight, 170 pounds, I either want him to fight Vicente Luque, because, man, that has potential. Or Neil Magny, coming off a huge win recently against Robbie Lawler. But if he does back-to-back fights at middleweight, and we've already discussed this, I think, on a podcast episode, number 14, Marvin Vettori. Those are the 3 fights that I want for Chimaev.
Vettori really stands out to me as being a big one, because that's another guy who just can't seem to get a fight.
Yeah. So those are my 3 options. Will either 3 actually be the one that they book? I don't know. But that's what I like. I like it.
Yeah, it's hard to predict right now. You don't think it's
Chimaev versus Luque? Oh!
I actually like that one probably the least.
Really?
I think it's more because I want both those guys to like work their way up and eventually be fighting for a potential title fight or not. I know that's getting way ahead. I'm just saying I love Luque
and I think rankings wise, I know again it's not all about the rankings, but it makes more sense. Vicente and Neil Magny are both tied at 10th and welterweight, and Vittori's ranked 14th at middleweight. So he's getting a ranked guy, obviously. It's just a matter of what weight class, and then who's gonna say yes.
It would be a big opportunity for any of those guys. Anybody who says no might need to rethink it, rethink their business plan, my friend. But that's the end of the news.
The news.
Dom.
Can we take a lunch break?
Psst, Dom.
What?
One of those O's has got to go. It's time for the preview.
UFC 253. Yas Island. Fight Island. Abu Dhabi.
I like it.
It's time. This is only our second pay-per-view preview.
Oh, it feels great, too.
Man.
It feels great to be back in the saddle.
Yes, it does.
Now, let's just get right into it, man.
Let's do it. Come on.
First fight. Hakeem Dawodu.
Yes.
Going up against Zubaira Tukhugov. I don't know. I want you to take a guess at that.
I'm not.
Yeah. I actually think it's probably Tukhugov, but...
But you know what I will do?
What will you do?
Get right into the nitty-gritty.
Break it down.
I already messed up on the first name. Zubaira?
Zubaira, yeah.
Zubaira?
I don't know.
19 wins.
Yeah.
4 losses. 1 draw. He's got 7 KO TKOs. 1 submission. He's 4-1-1 in the UFC. Notable wins coming against Kevin Aguilar by TKO. Mm-hmm. Kind of the only one I had for him, to be honest. But again, still fresh into the UFC, working his way through the kind of right on that cusp of the 15-ish area. And then for Hakeem on the other end, 11-1-1, 7 KO TKOs, and is 4-1 in the UFC as well. No notable wins, no notable losses, in my opinion, for Hakeem, and then no notable losses for Zubaira. What a fight. This is a fight that I think the winner cracks top 15, or gets a top 15 next.
Yeah,
Safe
I
to
will
say?
for Hakeem, he did have a win over Kyle Bochniak, which not a name that's going to stick out.
Right.
But he was the guy, I believe, that welcomed, or I don't know if he welcomed him, but he fought Zabit on the main card of UFC 223, which is, I believe, when Khabib beat Raging Al for the belt.
In Brooklyn.
And that was a fight Kyle actually put up a really good fight. I don't know if it was that card. It might have been before that. But anyways, like, that's a pretty big win.
Oh,
Split decision, close fight. But Hakeem's for real, man.
Yes, he's very good.
Now, I don't know a ton about his opponent here, Zubaira, besides the fact that he hit Conor McGregor with a 3-piece and a soda.
This is true.
Now, this is post-fight UFC 229. Even if you're not a huge UFC fan and you're listening to this,
you probably know about this.
You probably know about this. Khabib wins the fight. Dylan Danis is talking some shit. Still, Khabib
soars through the sky.
Jumps out of the cage, soars through the sky like the eagle he is.
Yes.
A brawl breaks out.
Yes.
And then a couple of Khabib's guys like jump into the octagon, and Conor's like still, tired, wobbly, not probably, and then he gets hit with some
right in the
sucker
face.
punches.
Oh yeah, right in the face.
And now he ate him, man. He was like, "Fuck you." But that's really what he's most known for. He does have a split decision loss to Renato Moicano.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Was that in the UFC?
Yeah, UFC 198.
Okay.
That's the card Stipe.
I totally missed that one taking my notes because that is definitely a notable loss. So I apologize, everyone, for missing that.
No, I mean, you're good. It was the UFC 198. It's a long time ago. That was when Stipe won the belt against Verdun. So, been a while there. That was a split decision loss as well. So, kind of a big deal there. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on how this fight's going to go? Because what I'm seeing here is... Go ahead. I'll let you take it here.
I see back and forth for 3 rounds and a decision victory, regardless which way you go. I got to go with Hakeem here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Really like him. Really enjoy him. Again, either guy coming off this is deserving of top 15 at the featherweight division, in my opinion. Or if not, I mean, right there at a guy that's like 16, 17 that we don't see on the rankings. I see a 3-round. I don't want to say war.
Yeah,
part of me wanted to say war, but eh.
I mean, these guys mostly have been knocking people out in their career. Not a whole lot of submissions between the two of these guys. I think it's one between the both of them. So, I'm actually going to agree with the decision, but I think I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Zubaira. Now, this fight, I see it being very much a stand-up. I want to call it a stand-up chess match.
Yeah. Technical.
I think it's going to be very technical. Now, Hakeem, don't get me wrong, that guy can unleash some shit.
Yeah, 7 out of 11 via KO.
But I think he's going to maybe get a little overzealous with that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll get a little too antsy. Maybe not enough action will be happening at points, and he's just going to be looking to like really make a mark.
Yeah.
And I think Zubaira is the type of guy that's going to take advantage of that.
Get
Patience,
the most of the exchanges.
yeah, he's going to really be patient, pick his shots well. I think it's going to frustrate Hakeem. I do think it'll go to a decision, but I think it's going to be one of those fights where Hakeem gets worn down the longer it goes. Probably going to start off very even. Maybe even Hakeem wins the first round, but by round 3, it's pretty obvious who's winning the fight. That's how I'm looking at it. But it could definitely go either way. But yeah, that's the first fight.
It's a good one. That's a good way to kick off
It's
the
a
night.
great way to kick off the show. Then we have our women's fight here. So Ketlin Vieira going up against Sijara Eubanks on 2 weeks coming off.
Sijara just won on September 12th.
Yep.
And here she is 2 weeks later.
Yeah. So Dom, break it down.
So, do you say Caitlin or Ketlin?
I think it's Ketlin.
Ketlin is 10-1. Hello. Kind of good, you know. Decent record, you know. 2 KO TKOs, 4 submissions. That's 6 out of 10 via finish. She's 4-1 in the UFC. Notable wins against Ashley Evans Smith via unanimous decision. Sarah McMahon via submission. And beat Kat Zingano, Noah, by split decision, who's now in Bellator,
Yes,
correct?
she is.
Notable loss coming to Irene Aldana via KO, who is taking on Holly Holm.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
So, yeah, that's going to be a great fight we get to break down.
Before that fight, Irene, Ketlin Vieira was looking at like potentially being in a title fight.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, now look at Aldana, who coming off that win, she's probably, if she beats Holly Holm, she's probably gonna be fighting for a title.
Yeah. The way that division is.
So
right
Ketlin
now.
Vieira, man, this is a tough matchup for Eubanks. But I'll let you finish your breakdown.
Sijara 6-4. You know, obviously kind of a win-loss type record.
Yeah.
2 KO TKOs. She's 4-2 in the UFC with wins against Lauren Murphy, the unanimous decision. Roxanne, the Happy Warrior, Modafferi, the unanimous decision. And then most recently, maybe not the biggest name, but I had to mention it because it's 2 weeks ago. She beat Julia Avila, the unanimous decision, in a pretty convincing win from the second and third round. The first round was pretty close, but the second
She looked
and third,
good in that fight.
Yeah, she did.
Say.
Dominant wrestling. And notable losses. Aspen Ladd.
Twice.
Yes.
This is outside the UFC.
Yes, once in the UFC.
Yeah.
And then Betchkoea via unanimous decision,
And
who is no longer in the
her
UFC.
second professional fight at Cage Fury Fighting Championship, she lost to Caitlin Chukage.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the little...
Back in 2015.
We do some digging on
Yeah.
these sometimes.
And here's the thing, man. Sajara Eubanks kind of had quite a bit of hype to her when she came in. She was on the Ultimate Fighter, where it was all about crowning a new world champion, right? Well, she had won her 3 fights to be in the final against Nico Montano.
Right.
So we could, for all, if the world is different, we could be talking about Eubanks as the inaugural women's flyweight champion.
Yep.
But a lot of problems cutting that weight.
Yes.
She ends up not being able to fight on that finale. So the woman she beat to get into the finale, Roxanne Modafferi, has to step in.
Yep.
And Montano ends up winning, and then there's kind of the whole thing with Montano being champion, and it didn't really
Not
work
really
out.
champion.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
But that speaks to Eubanks, I think, being better than her record, because her record's 6-4. It's kind of the case with a lot of women's fighters. Women's MMA is still very fresh in the landscape, I guess, even if you consider the fact that the UFC and MMA as a whole is not a foreign concept.
Right.
It's only been around for, UFC's been around 27 years. MMA's probably been around just a few years longer.
Yeah.
Women's MMA not really becoming much of a thing until at least the early to mid 2000s, and
of course not in the
really,
UFC till 2013.
Not into a big promotion until you're talking Strikeforce.
Yeah.
So you're talking 12 years, 10 years there. So you're going to see a lot of records like this, Angela Hill's another one.
Yep.
But overall,
the records don't do it justice.
No, and Eubanks, correct me if I'm wrong, very good grappler, correct?
Yes, dominant.
She's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that woman's ground game is going to be nasty. However, she's going up against a killer right here.
Yeah.
Ketlin Vieira is the real deal. I actually thought she was going to be a very tough matchup for this is that bantamweight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Caitlin is
yeah, I'm
ranked
like
7th.
I just got mixed up because I was talking about Sajara being flyweight champ.
Sajara's 13th.
I thought at one time Ketlin Vieira was going to be able to give Amanda Nunes at least something.
Right.
Kind of what some people are saying about Megan Anderson right now. That's what I was saying about Ketlin Vieira.
Right.
Kind of got derailed a little bit with that Aldana loss, especially being knocked out like that. Oof. However, she's still the real deal, man, and I think she's going to show it here.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to hear what's your method here.
I actually think Eubanks gets her to the ground, but Caitlin does some reversals, does some BJJ transitions, reversals, sweeps, all that fun, beautiful technique we love to watch on the ground.
Yeah.
She's going to submit her.
So what's
in
funny?
The second round.
What's funny is these are both black belts in BJJ, and Ketlin Vieira is also a black belt in judo. Fun fact.
I like this.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to predict this to be a decision win for Ketlin Vieira. I think you're right. I think you're going to see a lot of submission attempts in this fight, probably mostly from Vieira.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see Eubanks trying to use more of that power grappling.
Yes, yeah.
And Vieira's going to be trying to pull off some slick submissions. I think it might be a fun little grappling matchup to watch. But I think Vieira is ultimately going to win this one by a decision pretty convincingly. I just don't see her being able to actually get that submission win over Eubanks. But you never know. Vieira might be trying to play it a little safe in this one too, coming off a knockout loss. You don't see that a ton in women's MMA.
Sajara's strong too.
Sajara's strong. So this should be interesting.
Yeah.
Big fight for both these ladies here.
Look out for a lot of grappling.
It might be worth noting that, look, I love it that these fighters are stepping in on a couple week notice. But you have to wonder if Eubanks went 3 rounds in her fight 2 weeks ago. You have to wonder if she might be somewhat compromised in some way here. So
I'd say the biggest benefit is that her weight's already kind of down where it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably not going to be doing much of a cut.
But like you said, 3 rounds, that still can take a lot out of you, regardless if you won convincingly or not.
Right.
So It's a good one. That's going to be a fun I definitely see like a grappling match, basically.
Yeah, agreed. And so I said Vieira by decision. You said Vieira by submission.
Second round submission.
Nice. And moving on from there, here's a fight that I'm very excited about. Big implications here. We're talking the men's flyweight division, a division that is often nowadays not being
overlooked.
It's been overlooked since day one.
Yeah.
However, there was a lot of rumors that it was going to be kicked to the curb by Dana and the boys. However, Henry Cejudo kind of saved them, and now you have Davison Figueiredo at the top. After him, Cody Garbrandt potentially coming over to take that belt.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going to happen there. But the rest of that top of the heap's really fighting to make some sort of name for themselves.
Yep.
To earn a title shot, because that's kind of the problem, right? Why is Cody Garbrandt getting a title fight at flyweight over some of these other guys?
Because no one knows him.
Because no one knows him.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's reality. I know, like, we're big Cody guys, but do we think he should be getting a title fight over, like, Askar Askarov?
Yeah, and Brandon Moreno.
No, he shouldn't. But it's just the reality, and I don't expect any different. So, in this fight, you got Kai Kara France and Brandon Royval. Now, Dom, I want to let you go ahead and break it down for us.
Kai. Love that name, by the way.
Yeah.
Kai in general, but then Kai Kara France.
Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
it too.
Fighting with Izzy out of the same camp, Jake Matthews, and one other dude. They got 4 guys fighting from the same fight camp, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Kai is 21-8 with 9 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 4-1 in the UFC. Notable wins against Mark De La Rosa, the husband of Montana De La Rosa.
Nice.
Via unanimous decision. And a unanimous decision win against number 15 ranked Tyson Nam. And a notable loss to the number 2 ranked guy in the flyweight division, Brandon Moreno.
And that Tyson Nam fight, that just happened in February.
Right.
I shouldn't say it just happened. It happened in February. Great fight.
Yes.
So
the flyweights can put on.
He definitely made a name for himself with that fight.
Yes.
And that Brandon Moreno loss is looking better and better.
It's literally a number 1 contender because Benavidez is technically ranked first, but he's not getting another title fight.
Right. So
Brandon's the number 1 guy, arguably with Askar, who's undefeated at number 3 in that division.
So then you got Royval.
Royval is 11-4 with 3 KO TKOs, 7 submissions. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 10 out of 11 wins via finish. We love that. 1-0 in the UFC, though. Only one. But what a notable win it was.
Talk about making a name for yourself.
Yes. He walks in, his UFC debut, and submits former title challenger Tim Elliott.
Now, when you say title challenger, a lot of people are like, Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
Tim Elliott won.
A very unique season.
Yeah. You'd only seen it a couple times before.
Yeah.
Most notably, when Matt Serra won the comeback season and got the fight GSP. A lot of people don't remember Travis Lutter also won on that season, had the fight Anderson Silva. That fight did not go too well for him. But Matt Serra shocks the world, knocks out GSP. Tim Elliott wins this season, and what's his prize? You get to fight the most dominant champion, maybe the UFC.
One of the best fighters of all time. Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson. And he puts on a very good fight.
That was a great fight.
Even gets Demetrius's back at one point.
I remember being in our dorm.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was freshman year on this fight.
I think it was. I believe it was.
And it was like pitch black in the room for whatever reason. I had like no lights on.
Yeah.
And I was watching it underneath of the freaking bunk bed. And I was like, wow, is this guy about to do this?
Yeah.
Is he about to beat Demetrius Johnson? It was a great performance.
Yeah. And really, Tim Elliott's kind of stagnated ever since, I guess. Yeah. He's kind of been trading wins and losses. He did have I believe his last fight, he won?
Yes, he did, against Ryan Benoit.
Yeah, that was a great fight, I thought, as well. A fight that's overlooked a little bit because I don't know why. I felt like on that card that was like one of the better fights.
Oh, it's a really good fight.
A lot of people didn't talk about it too much, but I really liked that fight.
And then if you look for Tim Elliott, the 2 fights before, he lost to Royval, which I just mentioned, and then he lost to Askar Askarov, undefeated, number 3 ranked flyweight. I mean, Tim Elliott has fought damn near everybody.
So that Royval beating Elliott is big for him.
Yes, especially in your UFC debut. Right. That's huge.
Yeah, so he's 1-0 in the company.
Right.
And I believe that was a late notice. He was a late replacement, I believe, for that fight.
Probably.
Because he wins the fight, and he's overcome with emotion as he's being interviewed in the post-fight, because he's like, he felt like his performance was ass, I believe is what he was saying, and he said that he was going to have to go work his shift at his day job in the morning. Well, he looked incredible in that fight.
Yeah.
And Dana gives him the $50K bonus.
50 G's, baby.
50 G's, baby. Thanks, Luke.
And this man walks in, has one fight in the UFC, now he's ranked 9th in the division.
Deservedly so, I would say.
This is a big fight.
That's what I'm saying, man.
7 versus 9.
He gets on there and like he was talking real shit. Like he's saying, this is what I have to do. I have to go work a shift at some day job tomorrow. And Dana gives him that $50K bonus, and he gets to focus on fighting full time. So it's a big underdog story in a way.
Yep.
You definitely want to root for that guy. He's going up against a killer here in Kai Kara France.
And another fight where you're like, the winner of this, 1 or 2 more, and title fight.
Kara France has 9 knockout wins, by the way. So that guy also comes to bang.
Yep.
I'm curious what your thoughts are of this fight.
Great fight.
It is.
Great matchup.
Yeah.
Really excited for it. I'm leaning toward Kai.
Okay.
Very close.
I get it.
I think we're getting another decision.
Okay.
I think we're getting another 3-round back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pull for Kai in this by unanimous decision.
Okay.
Probably like a 29-28, because I'm sure Brandon will be able to get around. I think it'll be another technical fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, man, this is a tough one to predict, really, because we've seen so little of Royval, yet I'm just really impressed.
Yeah.
So here I am having to and I was really impressed by Kai as well. Whew.
It's tough.
I think I'm actually going to go Royval here. And I think I'm actually going to give him a submission win. I think I'm going to do a 3rd round.
Really?
I think he's going to continue. Now, look, you don't build storylines in the UFC, right? Like
right.
That's not reality. Is like sometimes shit just doesn't go the way of a storybook or whatever. But just walk with me for a second.
I'll walk.
Kai Kara France is winning this fight for 2.5 rounds. Pretty convincingly, I would say, or at least enough to where it's like nobody's gonna scream robbery.
Yeah.
I think at some point the fight gets to the ground. Royval's able to kind of put a Hail Mary submission on, wins the fight.
You're staking with that storyline.
Yeah, continues that kind of that thing, almost
the
like
underdog.
It's kind of like, you've seen it before. Forrest Griffin was a guy that really made a whole entire career out of being just a guy.
Yep.
So for Royval here, is that really how it's going to go down? I don't know. I like his ability to get those submission wins. He's got a lot of them in his career.
Yep.
I think he continues that here against a very tough opponent.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good one.
I do too. This
is an underrated fight.
So what's funny is, I don't know if I'm going to say it yet. I might need to think about it, but this might be fight of the night for me.
I almost said it, and then I was like,
so here's why. Well, we'll get to it later. Actually, I'll wait. Okay. So all in all, this is a great fight.
Watch out for this fight, man. This is a great fight. If anybody, especially because I'd say for a casual audience, they probably don't know much about this weight class at all. Right. Especially if you're newer, just because DJ's not there anymore. Because Mighty Mouse was like the only star, and he wasn't even like a superstar. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is a great fight and a great way to kind of jump in and be like, all right, these flyweights can. Dude, they fly around the ring. It's so fun to watch how fast they are. It's crazy. Great fight.
Yeah, agreed. I hope that this fight can really show some people, because you got 2 title fights. This is a big card.
Yeah.
Adesanya is proving to be a huge star for the company. I hope that this fight being 3rd, and you got 2 guys that are very likable, very well-rounded. I hope that the casual viewers that will be watching will be able to get a good fight.
Yep.
And something that they can really clinch, be like, oh, like these flyweights they really be showing out.
I agree.
Well, now it's time to get into the title fights, Dom. So, we're starting off with some light heavyweight action. We just exhaustingly went into detail about this whole division.
The whole damn division.
On Wednesday, which really was set up. We didn't even set it up like that, but it was kind of perfect that it did it right before.
It really did flow. Shout out to the spinner wheel.
Yeah, shout out to the spinner wheel. So we have Dominic Reyes coming off that super razor thin close decision loss to John Jones. And what is John Jones' last title defense at light heavyweight?
Dominic looked great.
And I thought Dominic won the fight. No hate to John Jones, even though I said him and Thiago I thought won their fights.
I'm
but
right there with you.
Yeah,
right
I'm not a John Jones hater. I'm just saying that's how I scored it.
Yeah, that's how we scored it.
So, that's his last fight.
Yep.
However, there's no doubt that he deserves to be in this title match.
Oh yeah.
And he's going up against Polish Power, Jan Blachowicz on that 3-fight win streak. So Dom, take it away.
It's title fight time.
It is. Let's get serious.
Dom is 12-1. Mm-hmm. 7 KO TKOs, 2 submissions. That's 9 out of 12 via finish. We love those high finishing rates.
We do.
6-1 in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. Notable wins: Jared Cannonier, TKO. OSP, or shall I say, Ovent St. Preux, unanimous decision. Volkan Oezdemir, in his I was going to say closest, then I remembered he fought John Jones. His second closest fight.
Yeah.
Of course, he wins this one via split decision. And then welcomes Mr. Chris Weidman to the light heavyweight division and sends his ass right back down to the middleweight division. He KO'd him. Put him to sleep.
Yeah, he really did, man.
Notable loss. Well, if you remember, he's 12-1.
Mm-hmm.
That one loss, pretty damn notable. John Bones Jones.
It do be notable, though.
John gets the win via unanimous decision. Still shocks me every time that we say that was unanimous decision. Considering John's fight against Thiago was a split.
I thought the Dominic Reyes fight was more clearly for Reyes than the Thiago fight, and yet Thiago got a split decision and Reyes got unanimous. So.
The judging, man. What are you going to do?
I think it was close enough. Like, I'm not going to scream robbery. I'm just saying that, I wish that Reyes could have at least got one, right?
Right, right. Jan, on the other hand, 26 wins, 8 losses, 7 KO TKOs, 9 submissions. That kind of shocked me when I saw he had 9 subs and only 7 KO TKOs, because we're talking the legendary Polish Power.
Yes,
and he's got more submissions. He's 9-5 in the UFC. He's been in there with the who's who. Notable wins against Ilir Latifi in his UFC debut via TKO. He beat Devin Clark via submission. Hold on, I gotta flip the page here. Jared Cannonier, unanimous decision. Jimmy Manoa, who he avenged a loss to, which I'll get into in a second because I like this little tidbit, but I'll talk about it in a second. Nikita Krylov, submission. Luke Rockhold, welcome him to the light heavyweight division.
Sent his ass to modeling.
He broke his damn jaw.
He sent that man to Gap.
He broke his jaw.
He sent that man to...
KO'd him. Then he welcomes Ronaldo's...
he sent that man Luke Rockhold to Calvin Klein, bro.
Listen.
Dude,
he's a good-looking guy.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, true.
Weidman also... I ain't about to start just complimenting all these guys.
Listen. He goes on to then welcome Jacare Souza to the light heavyweight division. Gets a split decision win. And then most recently, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with John Jones in the front row, KO'd Corey Anderson and sent him to Bellator.
In 3 minutes.
Notable losses. Jimmy Manoa, unanimous decision. Corey Anderson, unanimous decision. Alexander Gustafsson, unanimous decision. Patrick Cummins, majority decision. And your boy, Thiago Santos via TKO.
Yeah.
Now, people, noticed I said he lost to Manoa and Corey Anderson. He avenged both of those losses. And I'm big on that.
Yeah, I didn't realize, even while you were saying that, I didn't realize he had fought Corey before. Until today, I didn't realize
early.
I did not realize that was a rematch. I had no idea.
So goes on as his career obviously gets better, and he gets better as a fighter and avenges both of those losses. And that's the co-main, brother. That's the nitty-gritty. Now we're gonna have to take a 10-minute break so we can discuss who's gonna win.
No! Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Let me get some thoughts out.
Yeah,
here
go
right
ahead.
now.
I need to think.
Yeah. So, if I have any thoughts. Okay. So what's funny is you mentioned, I did not know this either. Polish Power, right?
Yes.
Well, this man choking people more than he putting them to sleep in other ways.
Yeah.
The 9 submission wins versus 7 knockout wins. Now, I believe that Polish Power moniker he's been given has really came along in this recent 3 fight.
For sure.
Really just for the Luke Rockhold and Corey Anderson wins. Because that Jacare Souza win, don't get me wrong, Jacare, great fighter.
Yeah.
It was a big fight because Jacare coming into the light heavyweight division. Guy was a killer at middleweight.
Probably one of the biggest names in the UFC to never get a title fight.
Yeah, I agree completely. Terrible fight. I'm just going to say it. Boring. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like these guys looked bad. I'm just saying that it was just a boring fight. You know, it happens. Yeah. No disrespect to either of them. Yeah. I mean, I did not sit there and boo at my laptop screen like these.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah. So, I think that's kind of where that moniker comes from, but it almost like works in his favor a little bit. Like people, if a fighter doesn't do their homework on Jan Blachowicz, they're gonna come in thinking he's about to throw them hands, and he might be throwing up them legs for a quick submission.
He's even got a standing rear naked choke and everything.
I mean, that speaks to the power right there too.
Yeah.
Now, for Dominic, he's the younger guy here. He's 30 years old. Jan Blachowicz is 37.
Is he really?
Yeah. Dominic, man, he's
so good.
Now,
good.
So what's funny is I thought he beat John Jones. I actually thought he lost to Volkan Oezdemir.
Yeah.
Now, and again, not calling it a robbery. I'm just saying.
We don't like that word.
Yeah,
we don't throw it around.
Unless it's egregious, you ain't going to hear me say that.
Right.
So, he's had an interesting career because I never would have thought he would have gave John Jones probably, I would say, even a tougher fight than Gus did.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'll go that far. But, you know, I haven't seen... Okay, to be fair, I have not seen the Gus Jones fight in a while, but...
John's 3 toughest fights, hands down, not even close.
Yeah.
It's Gus, Dominic, and Thiago.
The thing for me was I thought Jones did enough to beat Gus.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, I thought Reyes won, so in my eyes it's like, is that his toughest fight? But no, Gus really did, put him to the...
We've never seen someone put damage on John like Gus did. We'll put it that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
But Dominic, man, that Chris Weidman win was huge for him. Now, I know Weidman's definitely fallen off a bit from what his name value holds, but, you know, don't get me wrong, man. The guy's really looked pretty spotless, you know. That John Jones loss is not really much of a loss.
Oh, his stock went up.
Yeah. Obviously, he's still fighting for a title here.
Yeah.
So, you really have an interesting matchup here because you got Blachowicz on the 3-fight win streak, kind of the swan song of his career here. It's kind of his last hurrah trying to get that title. You know, I remember when I first started watching, you'd be at the press conference here and Daniel Cormier clowning, like, I don't know if it was Jimmy Manawa or whoever. He's like, yeah, Jan Blachowicz is cool. He's like, but you just beat Jan Blachowicz. I don't know if you remember that, but, like, he was basically saying, like, Jan Blachowicz is a nice guy. He's like, but all you beat is Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, I remember that time period when it was like he was kind of just a stepping stone in a way to getting on to the real contenders.
And here he
is fighting for a belt. I want to know what's your prediction here? Because I feel like I know who your head's at, but I don't know.
The more and more I think about it, you want to say like, oh well, you know, Dominic's the more technical striker and Blachowicz is the power striker. But then you look at some of these wins Dominic has. He can knock your ass out with one punch.
He can. And Jan is not, like, he's not shown, like, a lack, like, he was, that Thiago fight, he was beat up.
Yeah.
TKO'd. So, he hasn't been knocked out cold, I don't believe, but...
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Because I don't think it will. Do you think this is a decision?
Oh.
I don't think it will be.
It's a 5-round fight. The only way I could see it being a decision is if Blachowicz kind of has the deer in headlights type. Now, I'm not saying if he did. I mean, I think Dominic has the killer instinct to take him out. But I also think his style being so technical, it tends to feed off of the energy of the other fighter. I don't want to call him a counter striker, but I'm just saying that the energies, right? He kind of gives back what I guess that is kind of like calling him a counter striker, but I don't know enough about his fighting style to say that. I'm just saying it seems like he matches what the other fighter is bringing. And if Jan doesn't really bring it, then you might be looking at kind of a boring decision where it's kind of a point decision. However, I don't see it going that way, man.
I think round 1 we get a feeling out round.
I agree.
Round 2 they start to both loosen up.
Okay.
Loosey-goosey. Round 3, much of the same. Round 4, Dominic Reyes lands the shot after a hard-fought 3 rounds. And in the championship, round 4, Dom gets the TKO victory and becomes the new light heavyweight champion of the world. And a new champion for the first time in nearly 10 years that's not named John Jones or Daniel Cormier. That was a tough one. That was tough. Then I look at the main event and I want to cry, but anyway.
See, if you take out the John Jones fight, I'm not saying you can do this. I'm just talking aloud, thinking aloud. If you take out the John Jones fight from Dominic Reyes, his resume is not the most impressive. At least not more impressive than Blachowicz's. Because, look, Jared Cannonier, good win. OSP, good win. Volkan Oezdemir arguably lost that fight. Chris Weidman, good win, but in a division that was foreign to Weidman, and ultimately he probably shouldn't have been there. Is that a championship resume necessarily? Probably not. But he nearly beats John Jones. And Blachowicz, on his 3-fight win streak here, Luke Rockhold knocks him out. Luke, that's nothing new to Luke.
Well, yeah.
And it's also in a new division for Luke. Maybe a division he shouldn't have. Well, when your chin's not able to hold up at middleweight, you go up a division where guys are punching even harder. You know.
Definitely a big dude, but like we saw, it didn't matter.
Then you have the Jacare fight. Not a very exciting fight, but a fight that I thought Blachowicz clearly won, even though it was a split decision. And then the knockout over Corey Anderson. So really, these two guys' last fights are kind of the, I guess, most impressive of their, which maybe isn't surprising, but it's like, to me, those are the two most notable for them and why they, in my eyes, either like why they would have an edge over the other. I also think for Jan that Nikita Krylov submission's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Not saying that you're overlooking it or anything, just talking aloud. God, I don't know, man. I really thought I was going to go Reyes when we started, and now I'm like on the fence. But I think I'm going to go Reyes. And I think I'm actually going to do the same prediction you did.
Really?
Round 4 TKO, KO.
I think we see a really good fight.
I don't know how... You know what I am envisioning right now? A similar fight to the first Holloway Volkanovski fight, except imagine that fight except Volk finishes it in the 4th round. Like, it's a good fight.
Yeah.
But it's not like
a war.
It's not a war, or it's not super memorable.
It's just
I'm not saying the styles will be the same as that fight. I'm just saying, like, I remember thinking it was a good fight.
Yeah.
But, you know, ultimately, if Dominic finishes the fight like we're predicting, that probably puts it up a peg there. But, I think Dominic Reyes, I think this is his time.
I really think he has potential to reign for a while. I mean, he was my champ a year from now.
Yeah, so you think the reign starts now?
I think it starts now.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of where we leave that fight. It's tough, man.
It
That's
really is.
I did not.
That's a great match.
That's crazy because until we really broke it down right here, I really wasn't prepared to have much issue with picking Reyes. But
it really is a great style.
I will say, to Blachowicz' credit, I have basically counted him out every fight along the way. I thought he was going to lose to Rockhold. I thought he was going to lose to Jacare, and I thought he was going to lose to Corey Anderson.
Well, Corey was looking like he was going to get the title shot next.
I thought he was going to lose all three of those, and now I'm picking him to lose here in this title fight. So
he might prove you wrong again.
He might prove me wrong again, and I can assure you, Mr. Blachowicz, if you go out there and win this belt,
bow down.
I might have to buy a shirt or something.
Hey, Poland has their queen, and Joanna. They're looking for their king.
He said bow down.
Bow down.
Well,
it's a good one.
I think we're on to the main event here.
No.
Dom?
No. I won't do it.
One of those O's has got to go. Combined 32-0. And one of those O's has got to go. Yes, Dom, you in the back.
What if we get a draw? All right, so the nitty gritty.
Wait a minute. I didn't think about that. Hey, they ain't going to the draw.
Middleweight championship of the world.
Dom.
Nitty gritty.
One of the biggest.
This is one of the biggest middleweight championship fights of all time. It's probably right up there with like Silva Sonnen, Silva Weidman. Yeah. I mean, it's up there.
And now you're talking like Dana has been saying. You don't hear this a lot from him. He said this should be fight of the year. What did we see this year? One of our top 10 fights of all time.
Number 7 to be exact.
Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Break it down.
Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya, Izzy, some call him.
Yes.
19 wins, 0 losses. That's a donut. That's 0.
that is a donut.
14 KO TKOs. He's 8-0 in the UFC. In a little over, 2 years? This guy came on and exploded.
It'll be
Superstar.
It'll be 3 years at the end of November.
Yeah.
Or wait. Nope. Sorry. I was wrong. His first fight in UFC was February 11th, 2018.
That's crazy.
2.5 years.
This man is about to make his second, or about to attempt to make his second.
I really didn't realize he was that active.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Notable wins. Marvin Vettori.
There's a lot of them.
Split decision. Brad Tavares. Unanimous decision. Derek Brunson. TKO in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
My GOAT.
Yep.
Anderson the Spider Silva. Unanimous decision. Great fight.
Love
that fight.
What a fun fight.
Love that fight. That was that passing of the torch to me.
Yep.
Really cool fight. Kelvin Gastelum. 2019 Fight of the Year.
It was also in our top 10.
Yes. Wow. Unanimous decision victory there. Then he gets the title fight against Bobby Knuckles in the highest attended UFC event in the history of the company.
To this day. That was in Melbourne.
It sold out a football stadium, which in Australia, soccer.
And those people love their Aussies.
Yes.
And they had 2 of them.
Yes. And he KO'd Bobby Knuckles. He sent him backwards.
He broke Bobby Knuckles. And we're big Bobby Knuckle guys.
Yes.
Especially, I think you even more than me.
Yes. And then he fought Yoel in one decision.
Yeah, we don't talk. We skip over that one. Okay, anyways.
Paulo Costa. 13-0. That's a donut. That's 2 donuts.
Those 2 donuts.
We like donuts. These guys got 2 of them. Paulo, 11 KO TKOs, 1 submission. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 12 out of 13 wins via finish. He's 5-0 in the UFC. Notable wins. Big Rig Johnny Hendricks. TKO'd him. Mm-hmm. See ya.
See ya.
Uriah Hall. TKO'd him. See ya. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Little mishap on set. Yoel Romero, my God.
What a
fight.
fight.
What a fight. Like, hey, that Yoel and Adesanya, Yoel Costa? That's like that that meme where the dude's walking down the street with his girl. That's what it is.
No, it's literally Paulo Costa's like the guy.
Yeah.
And Israel's the girl.
Yeah.
He's looking back at Yoel Romero.
Yeah. And Izzy's like, huh? Yeah, that's what it is. No notable losses, by the way, because,
Donut.
Yeah, donut.
Oh my gosh.
We've talked about this not only since day one, I believe, but literally this is going to be our 21st podcast. This has had to have been mentioned at least in 10 other episodes.
This has to be the easiest fight to predict style-wise. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's a hard fight to predict.
Oh, it's a hard fight to predict. I'm talking
You mean
about
the
style.
type of fight we're
Yes.
getting? Okay, yes, I agree.
We're getting a Matador matchup here.
Yeah, the bull and the matador.
Adesanya being that technical, precision striking, a guy who's quick on his feet, going to be moving a lot, going up against Paulo Costa, who's literally going to be pushing
Stalking
forward,
him.
stalking him.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's fucking Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Who's going to be able to come out on top here? I'm Dom. I'm not ready for this fight.
Okay, so right, a lot of people are probably saying, okay, so including Adesanya, Costa's going to stalk him down. Israel's going to time his shots, and he's going to land that one shot that he believes will finish him. He thinks he can finish Costa, we saw the little meme video that he tweeted out with how the fight was going to go. He literally had my man's leaving the octagon, and he had to drag him back in a headlock. I don't think that's going to happen, but Costa's going to try and take his head off, right? He's going to stalk him down, throw power punches, and the guy don't get tired. I mean, through 3 rounds, now that's where this fight could get interesting. The question is, does this fight make it to the championship rounds, Noah?
So here's an interesting fun fact. Technically, look, professionally, Costa is undefeated. Now, he was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yep, I'm glad you brought this up.
Did not have a great showing there. Got gassed very quickly.
This was a guy that was a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And he saw MMA fights and he thought, that looks cool. Then he got on The Ultimate Fighter and lost, obviously.
Right.
But that moment on is where he transformed.
Yeah.
And he learned so much, and from there on, I mean, look at him.
So, when you have this matchup here, this is very much set up where if Adesanya gets a big win here, not in the Yoel Romero way, but in like the Kelvin way, something like that.
Or Robert way.
Or the Robert way. His star will never probably be as high as it will be in the aftermath of this. And I think it's very much set up to do so. He's on the cover of the latest UFC video game.
Yep.
Along with Masvidal, who is the biggest star that's still active in the UFC. Obviously, we just talked about the highest attended UFC event in history.
Yep.
Was him versus Robert Whittaker in Australia. So over there he is larger than life.
I don't know.
Well,
can we leave the podcast not knowing?
And the thing is that I feel like, my prediction's kind of well known.
This is true. Costa is your champ this time next year.
It starts Saturday. Paulo Costa. Look, Adesanya, man, I think he's going to put up a very good effort here. I think actually he will. I think he may even drop Costa in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
It only takes one. Adesanya, look, he's going to have that height and reach advantage, and Costa, they always talk about him having the stumpy arms and stuff, the T-Rex arms. It only takes one, man. Costa's huge.
He's massive.
I think he knocks him out in the second round.
Second round KO.
When you really think about it, if you're going to pick Costa in this fight, like, the longer it goes, the more it's in Izzy's favor. Am I right on that? Like, I would say.
I would think so.
Because if you even look at Costa's win against Yoel, that third round, he was pretty tired.
And we've seen Adesanya.
Yoel, that's really Yoel's round where he shined.
Yeah. And Adesanya, on the other hand, goes into absolute battle.
Yeah.
And that's where he looked his strongest.
So, my biggest reason for this, and I don't want this to come off as a slight on the individual, that Kelvin fight, as amazing as it was, as much as it showed Adesanya's heart and his drive to be a champion, that champion mentality to like end up coming out on top despite some like early rounds where he was in trouble. Kelvin is not Paulo Costa.
Power-wise, no.
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 And Kelvin showed an ability. Kelvin's also he's a shorter, like, less reach compared to Adesanya. And I'm sure Israel's worked on it since this fight. But you saw Kelvin able to get in there now. Kelvin was able to threaten with the takedowns, things like that. There's other factors. But I saw that, and I went, like, Kelvin's great.
Yeah.
I think Paulo is going to take his head off. And that's me. I'm picking the underdog there. I mean, rightfully so. Israel is the favorite. He seems to be the one that most people are picking. I think this will be a rivalry for years to come. But I think here Paulo gets the first victory.
I'm kind of going with
I know.
the crowd.
Yeah. No,
I'm kind of going with how people see it. Adesanya's going to pick his shots.
Mm-hmm.
Costa's going to get hit. He's going to get hit. We know Costa's going to get hit. Izzy will get hit. Don't get me wrong, he'll get hit. I think third round, Adesanya lands enough of those shots, and he's gonna land that one, similar to like that one shot that happened against Robert Whittaker, that just came out of nowhere. That left hook, boom.
Yeah.
I remember watching that live, and I was like, huh? What the hell? Robert got hit?
Yeah, people want to sit there and talk about Izzy being skinny, whatever. I mean, Paulo said
that was basically a one-punch KO.
Izzy, Robert's not a guy that goes down. Look at those wars he had with Yoel.
Yeah.
Izzy took his lunch.
Yeah. I think third round, we see something similar. He finds this one shot that Paulo's just not going to see, and the ones that you don't see coming are the ones that are going to put your ass down.
If I were to pick Izzy in this fight, I would think similar. Third or fourth round, and I think it would be, you would notice Yoel slow down tremendously, and that's where he would get picked apart most.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's going to be. He's going to land that shot that Paulo doesn't see coming. It's going to drop him, and Izzy's going to pounce. TKO finish in the third round, and still, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya.
I am so excited for this fight.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And we're going to be watching it with the fellas.
Oh, it's going to be great.
We got a squad. We're going back to
your buddy's house.
I think it's our buddy at this point.
True. Shout out Tyler.
Shout out Tyler.
What a day one.
Him and his fiancee Kelsey are going to be hosting us again, gratefully.
With some nice dips and chips.
Yeah.
Chips and dip. I mean.
And my cousin is actually coming up to watch it with us. So you'll get to meet Caleb for the first time.
You know, shout out to Caleb if you're listening, because he's kind of been like the day one.
Really, him and Tyler have been like the day ones.
I'm not tooting our own horn. I'm not tooting the podcast horn. But, like, we've helped your cousin, and probably even Tyler, but probably more so your cousin, really get into this UFC and MMA
he
in
said
general,
as much.
man.
He said as much.
He called you that night.
He said, Hoist Gracie is a beast.
Yeah, that cracks me up.
He's watching UFC 1.
He's following your footsteps here.
A little bit, yeah. I'm excited to have him down here so we can watch one together.
I'm very excited. It's going to be a great night of fights. Back on Fight Island for the next 5 weeks.
Yep.
And what a way to kick it off.
For sure, man. But that's UFC 253.
That's it. Our second pay-per-view preview is in the books.
Yeah. As for our next couple episodes here, Monday, obviously, we are going to be recapping the entire outcome of this show. for the main card, I should
Yeah.
say. And if anything sticks out to us on the prelims.
Yeah, hey, shout out Diego Nightmare Sanchez
Yeah,
on
going
the
up
prelims.
against Jake Matthews, the Boston boy.
Yeah.
So we'll be recapping the whole show, or the whole main card, I should say. We'll also go into any news that comes out between now and then. Wednesday, big one here. This episode's a little extra special.
A little extra.
We're going to be ranking.
Yeah, we've been holding this back until this pay-per-view was over.
So I pitched this idea to you probably about
a while ago.
It's probably 4 weeks ago now. Right after 252 it had to have been.
Yeah.
And you were the one that went, but wait, if we do this, we need to wait till every champion is crowned, because the light heavyweight title had been vacated at that point.
Right.
We're going to be ranking all of the UFC champions, men and women.
Yeah.
In order, based on and we'll go more into the parameters on that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, we haven't talked enough about it to put that out there yet without your without your consent, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very excited to do that. We've been holding back.
Yeah, we've held it back, and this is kind of a good time. And this is another one. I don't want to call this a series, but this is something that we could revisit down the road.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's always going to be champions, and they're always going to be changing.
Yeah.
This is kind of the perfect time for us to do this because it's right after the big pay-per-view with 2 title fights, and then we have a month until our next title fight, which is Habib and Gaethje. We get to break that shit down too.
Yeah.
But this is a really good time for that episode. I'm excited for that one.
Completely agree. So that's going to be coming to you guys on Wednesday. But yeah, that's those are our next couple episodes there.
Yep.
Got a lot coming up.
Oh yeah.
It's big. It's a good time to hop on the Below Average Joe's bandwagon.
Still, grateful for all the support so far.
Yeah.
The big announcement as we're recording this was 2 weeks ago today. We're seeing numbers grow on the podcasting specific sites, while still pulling decent numbers on YouTube.
Yeah,
which
in case you guys didn't notice, our views have dipped on YouTube, and maybe if you're someone who's just looking at it, they're like, oh shit, they're dipping a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's because we are on everything now.
Right, yeah.
So our views are
realistically, numbers-wise, we're pulling just as much, if not more than what we have been.
Yeah.
It's just staggered now across 10 different platforms, man.
Yeah, it's so weird to be trying, because I used to just go to YouTube views. Okay, this video's doing well.
Right.
Now
we gotta look here.
Now I gotta do math.
Yeah, right.
So but Dom, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at dsilly14. You can find our podcast on Instagram at belowaveragejoes_podcast. And you can find our podcast anywhere. Spotify, Google, Apple, Anchor. Don't forget to visit our Anchor website. Lots of fun stuff there. And 5 other different podcast host services. It's crazy. We're really all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, and if you go to my bio on Twitter or Instagram at ntbaker_, you'll be taken to our link tree.
We love the link tree.
Which literally, so clean, so nice. Love it.
Yes.
It has links to every platform we are on. The YouTube channel's on there. Instagram, the Anchor page. There's even a link if you want to become a supporter of the podcast. Do what you want to do. You don't have to. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
Right. It's on the table.
And then also the links to Spotify, Apple, Google. If you go to our Anchor page, however, it's going to have links to every...
Yeah, that link on the link tree where it says Anchor website, it's really like our podcast website.
Yeah,
so
it's like our webpage.
There's everything there. You can listen straight from there, but the summary of what we do, the donations and gifting, the voice messages, which we still want to hammer home with all you guys, all of the other podcast sites, it's really a website and it's really cool. So.
Yeah. So
shout out Anchor.
Again, you go to my Twitter or Instagram at ntbaker_, and you can find that in the bio. But that's it. And we're out. And we're going to see y'all on Monday.